on top of. Not even because the governments might get involved, not because it's a business issue, but I believe that as the leaders of the industry, we all have an obligation, I think the moral obligation that Wyndham mentioned, to really do something about this. I think for AppNexus, we're in a unique position where we have $2 billion to spend through our platform every year. We work with many of the largest players around the ecosystem. And I believe that while people can throw numbers around and point fingers, at the end of the day, if we want to, together, create a better internet, we have to actually take action. And I believe that's a combination of a few different pieces. One is we need the will to do this. And if Windows study doesn't scare you, and the front page articles in the Financial Times don't scare you, and the fact that we have major marketers pulling spend doesn't scare you, then I hope you have the moral character to care about the fact that we're giving money away to people who aren't producing great content. So the first thing is, I believe it's time because we do have that will as a space. I don't think anyone here is actively trying to promote fraud or invalid content. I think it's happening to us, and we're not taking action to stop it. The second thing we need to do, if we want to stop it, is to agree on just what we're talking about when we talk about fraud and invalid traffic. One thing that we see a lot, that I'm sure you all participate in, is that an advertiser will call an agency and say, my double verify report says that 32.6% of the inventory I bought was fraudulent. And the agency calls the network or the publisher and says, hey, I don't want to pay for 32.6% of this. It was fraud. And the publisher says, prove it. Or double verify has no idea what they're talking about. Or we have lots of data scientists. And by the way, they may well be right. There's absolutely a chance that in these cases, it's not all fraud. But as long as everyone points the finger at everyone else and can't agree on a common currency for just what fraud is, we're going to be stuck in this case where no one can be held accountable. So what's better? A currency that we agree on that may be imperfect, or having no currency? I believe it's time for us to just agree on a common currency for fraud and invalid traffic. We look at the oil market. There's like a West Texas light crude standard. And I don't think they've mined or pumped much light crude out of West Texas in quite a while. In our space, we have Nielsen. I don't think Nielsen can claim that through their panel, they know exactly how many people are watching a given TV show or advertisement. It doesn't have to be perfect. We just all have to agree. So the first step to solving this problem is to agree on a handful or a couple of vendors that will be the gold standard for verifying whether inventory is or is not valid. And so as part of the AppNexus Certified Supply Program, which I want to talk about now for a few minutes, we've selected Integral Ad Science and Double Verify as the first two verification vendors. What I mean is that for anyone who participates in this program with us, if they say it's fraud, we say it's fraud. Again, I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not saying things won't fall through the cracks. But I believe it's critical just to agree on some standard. That's the first point. That's the currency we're going to use. The second part of our certified supply program is accountability. We need to hold ourselves accountable for the quality of the inventory that we run. And so at AppNexus, what we're going to do in Q1, once we have all the legal and technical pieces worked out, is stop charging buyers for inventory that IAS or DV say is fraud. We won't take any money from you if we're running on inventory that they say is invalid. Well, that's a big step. This pulls real money out of the ecosystem. And what we're going to do is stop paying suppliers who send us fraudulent inventory. We're going to rip out the money from the entire ecosystem for inventory that is, according to our currency, invalid. I believe that by doing this, we will take millions, tens of millions, we'll find out from Windows Study, a ton of money out of the ecosystem. And I'm willing to be accountable in front of all of you and in front of the inventory, in front of the industry, that the inventory that we're working with is of the highest quality. Now, not every impression on our platform will be marked as certified. There's certainly a large chunk that we can't put our name behind. It doesn't mean that it's fraudulent or invalid. It simply means we can't stand behind it. And I think that's reasonable. You know, no detection mechanism is perfect. But the key point here is if you buy AppNexus supply, AppNexus certified supply, you will only pay for valid traffic. Now, I thought I'd be up here today saying this in a unilateral fashion, that this was an AppNexus thing. But as I talked to folks around the industry, it turned out that everyone was looking for some common currency and was actually willing to be held accountable. I talked to Frank Adante from Rubicon. He said, Brian, you know what? Count us in. We want to be part of this program. I talked to Rajiv from Pubmatic, and he said, Brian, this is the right answer. We want to be part of this program. I talked to our friends at Yahoo and said, hey, guys, you know, this might be crazy, but do you want to work together on something that has the chance to really impact this whole industry? Peter Foster said, absolutely. And of course, Microsoft is a longtime partner and one of the stalwarts against the bad things that happen in this space is on board. So that's 4 major industry partners that are going to join us in our certified supply program. I also talked to Brian Lesser, who I see over there. Hi, Brian. And Brian said, you know, we've been doing this for a while. Like, you're behind. And I said, OK, so you're in. And he said, of course we're in. So today, we are live. This is not some crazy idea. This is not something that's happening someday. Right now, today, if you log into console, you'll see a new field, and it says run only on certified supply. And if you click that button, all the inventory you buy will be inventory that we've certified. Now, today, we haven't certified the full universe. We're still tweaking and testing. We're still playing with the integrations with DV and IS. But this is something you can do today. If you work with a bidder, if you work with a DSP, or you have your own bidder, today, you will now see a field in every bid request that says certified supply equals 1 or 0, technically. That would be yes, it is, or no, it's not, for you non-technical folks. And you know, if you want to buy certified supply from us, you just bid on the impressions that are certified. Now, we're not going to provide the guarantee until Q1, once everyone here has had a chance to really make sure that this works, that we've worked out the kinks, we've thought through how to pass through all of the non-payment. I think one way to think about this for you is this is sequential liability for fraud. We have this for payment in this space. We have tight contracts and T's and C's around discrepancies. And now we're going to have the same thing for fraud. And I believe, and I'm curious what you all think, and look forward to you telling me later at the break or lunch or over dinner or drinks tonight, whether you think this will work. But having thought about it a lot and having talked to a lot of people, I think these are the key points for us. A common currency and shared accountability to take all of the money and all of the economics out of the non-quality or the invalid part of the advertising ecosystem. So I hope you all join me in this. I hope you'll support us in this initiative. And I hope that by the time we're back in New York next year, we're sitting here going, phew, we dealt with this issue. We're never going to talk about it again. And I look forward to the last ever Financial Times article about this when they say, problem solved. And then they'll have to write about something else. So AppNexus certified supply, live now, fully rolled out in Q1. Very excited.